exchange of gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide. The process includes three phases. Ventilation, or simply breathing, allows air to get in and out of the lungs. Breathing consists of two stages. Inspiration, for inhalation, which is the act of moving fresh supply of air into your lungs. And expiration, for exhalation, is the act of moving air out of the lungs to get rid of carbon dioxide that is not needed by your body. External respiration, the second phase, is the exchange of gases between the atmosphere and the blood, while internal respiration, the third phase, is the exchange of gases between the blood and the body tissues. This occurs in all living cells.
How do these relate to choking?
Well, the trachea we mentioned earlier is part of the entire respiratory system. And of course, it includes the nose. We have the pharynx, the larynx, the bronchi, and the bronchioles. And of course, we have the alveoli of the lungs. Now let's go to the respiration process and let's begin with the nose. When you breathe, air enters your nose. The nostrils serve as entrances to your nasal cavities. They are a pair of passageways separated by a bony septum. Inside the right and the left nasal cavities are coarse hairs that filter the air and trap any microorganism or dust particles that may enter your nose. This ciliated mucous membrane is richly supplied with blood capillaries capable of warming and moistening the air that is breathed in. This prevents damage of your delicate lung tissues. Next is our pharynx. It serves as passageway for both air and food. Pharynx forms an entrance to both the respiratory and the digestive tracts. Next comes the larynx. Your larynx lies in a small cave of muscle in the front of your neck, a little below the back of your tongue. It is protected by a tough layer of cartilage. The entrance to this cave of muscle is protected from the food you eat by the epiglottis we talked about earlier. As mentioned, the air goes down the windpipe or trachea. It is a tough muscular tube supported by rings of cartilage which keep the tube from collapsing. It is also lined with cilia and fluid that trap germs and other materials from the air. The trachea branches out and forms the bronchial tree. This branched passage of air is embedded in your lungs. Bronchi are two smaller pipes from your trachea. One leads to your right lung, the other to your left. They again branch into smaller and smaller tubes within your lungs. The smallest branches finally lead a cluster of microscopic balloon-like air sacs, the alveoli. Alveoli are surrounded by tiny blood vessels or capillaries. Its walls are thin and moist. That is why gases can easily diffuse across the membrane of the alveolus.
We already know that the lungs are in our chest, but we don't know why these two lungs aren't the same size.
Well, yes, you're right. The left lung is always a little smaller than the right lung. And that's simply because it has to give some space for the heart. Lungs are spongy and are covered by a double pleural membrane which secretes mucus. The mucus acts as a lubricant, permitting the lungs to move freely in the chest during breathing. When the diaphragm moves down and your ribs spread, your lungs are stretched. At this point, air flows in through your nose and windpipe to fill the extra space. After some time, your diaphragm relaxes and your lungs are squeezed back to the original size. At this condition, much of the air is forced out.